in the video today, we're going to talk about the truth about vitamin D for cancer. My name is Melanie Roussin. I'm a cervical cancer survivor, and I'm also the creator of Girls Rocking Cancer. I was being looked after by Dr. Heather here, who really helped me to nurture myself back after cancer. And so just before we get our video started, I just wanted to say, if you love what you hear today, please just like and maybe share the video, and also tag someone who you think could benefit from this content. So that would be great. Let's get started. So hi, Dr. Heather. Thank you for having us in your office today.
Lovely, pleasure to have you.
So you've played such a big part in helping me to understand why I had cancer, and I know there's a lot of reason that kind of play a role in having cancer, but certainly understanding the genetics is a big part of it.
Yes.
And also, surprisingly, it's something that we can do something about. So how about you tell us a little bit about more about vitamin D and the link with cancer? So what's the link between vitamin D and cancer?
Sure, that's a very good question. So would you like to see it on your
Yes, yes, of course, of course,
so
yes.
maybe that's a good way to show you.
Yes.
When we actually pull up your
result.
result.
So basically what we're looking at now is a how would you call it, a DNA test?
It's a DNA test, sequencing test. So we took a saliva sample and sent it off to the lab, and it was sequenced, and it's come back, and we're looking at what we call SNPs, or single nucleotide polymorphisms.
Oh wow, what does that mean?
So it's basically mutations.
Mutation.
So where there's been mutations in your DNA and what that means.
Okay.
And how they relate to cancer, in
Oh,
your
wow.
particular case for cancer.
I remember a few years back, because we did that when I just had learned that I had cancer, I think a year after that. And the best way that I could explain what a mutation is, and stop me if you think I'm wrong, is a bit like if you had a recipe to make a chicken. Yes. Right? But then you end up with a chocolate cake. So, fair enough. So that was, it's probably my interpretation, but this was my own result. So what we're seeing on the screen, the two red dots, is my own cells.
Yes, your DNA, that's right.
Okay.
So if we look at, I will put a picture up. Let's go in here. So with DNA, when in an ideal world, when all is well, there's 4 base pairs, and T's and A's stick together.
Yes.
And C's and G's stick together, like a jigsaw, and they're very happy. And the way that the company report the results is like traffic lights, with the green light meaning everything's good and they're sticking together the way they should.
Yes.
And orange light means that one of those is wrong. So the C might be stuck to an A by accident, for instance. You'll get an orange dot because it wants to be with a C or a G.
Okay.
Okay. And if it's completely wrong, so that might be an A and that might be a C. It's just completely and utterly upside down, inside out, and back to front and wrong. You'll get a red dot.
Like the chocolate cake.
Well, yes. And so that's a full mutation.
Yes.
And so it's a very easy way, graphically, for you to very quickly see if you have a red dot, something's not right. Okay.
Yes.
So stop. Let's take a look at that one. It's not right.
Okay, so if we go back to my test
Go back
result,
to your test results.
it's really a bit of a worry.
Well, the vitamin D, this didn't surprise me at all, because this is what we see with cancer all the time.
Yes.
Just routinely, in my experience, all of my cancer patients have had this issue with the vitamin D. So what it means when you have red dots here in the vitamin D receptor, it means that the receptor that receives the vitamin D isn't working properly.
So I think that's really important, because I think we think to have vitamin D, we just go under the sun. And especially here in Australia, we're so lucky. But it's not because you go under the sun that you get vitamin D.
Exactly.
That to me really is a big surprise.
Yes.
So
if the gene is broken, then that doesn't necessarily work. You might get a tan, and look at you, you're gorgeous. So your melanin's working perfectly, you're changing colour. It doesn't mean that you're absorbing the vitamin D properly.
Yes.
Right? Now vitamin D is absolutely crucial. This receptor is actually found on every single cell in the body. okay? And there's no other gene, apart from thyroid, there's no other gene. So 22,000 odd genes that they found in the human body, 21,998 of them are not on every single cell of the human body, okay?
Wow.
So what does that say to you? Do you think vitamin D might be like, critically important?
Super
Super important.
Yeah,
Super
especially
important.
if you've been diagnosed with cancer like I was, or if you're watching and if that's something that you're recovering from as well, that's really a critical part.
Vitamin D can be an absolutely crucial key to cancer and recovery. Okay?
So how do can we do anything about it?
Totally, absolutely. So what I'll do, I'll open these up. There's some great science in here to show you. I'll make this a bit bigger and we might be able to get the camera to zoom in a bit. So in here, when we look at the function of vitamin D, it has three main areas in the body. So it contributes to your bones, your bone density. Bones,
Yes.
And it also protects us from cancer, malignancy.
Oh, there you go.
As much as they say stay out of the sun, in actual fact, we need vitamin D to protect us from cancer. It's
Yes.
just about not getting burnt. I'm not suggesting you go out in the middle of the day and get burnt to a crisp. That's silly. But a little bit of morning sun or late afternoon sun, but that's fine. We just don't want to be out between 10 and 2 when it's not sensible.
Of course.
And it also protects from autoimmune.
Yes.
All right. So when we have problems in the vitamin D receptor, these are the people that typically end up with cancer or autoimmune conditions, or, as in your case, both.
Wow.
Okay? So we can have a look at this, looking at the clinical relevance. These are the types of conditions that are affected. There are many more. It's just these are the sort of trendy conditions that get funding from the government. When you have researchers as a PhD, I understand how this works. So in here, cancer is quite trendy. It gets a lot of research. So you can see that there's a lot of papers, a lot of research being done around how there are significant correlations between having a problem with this vitamin D receptor and a higher risk of cancer. Okay, so it's super important that we fix this. Now, the good news is, yes, it's totally fixable.
Yay!
So the interventions down here, there are nutrigenomic and nutritional interventions that we can use to fix this. And so this is the beauty of doing your sequencing,
Yes.
that we can tailor the intervention to you specifically.
So sequencing is when I take
The saliva, like
the
on
saliva.
CSI,
Yes.
on the crime shows.
Yes. So the good news is it's totally non-invasive.
It's totally non-invasive, not a blood test, it's just saliva.
Just saliva.
Yeah.
And is it something that, obviously you're based in Brisbane, Australia, if people are watching that from overseas or somewhere else, you can mail that kit to them?
Totally. They're
Yeah.
very easy. Depending on which company we choose, and that depends on what people come in with. There are various different companies, different kits, different panels that they run.
Yes.
So for some of them, we just need to, for instance, just basically spitting into a tube.
Yes. Nice and easy.
So it's very, very, very easy, and it doesn't hurt. And then you just pop it back in the post. So
Nice and easy. Yeah, just
So
take a little swab
it's
inside the
it's kind
mouth.
of spitting.
Yeah.
And then you put the lid on and pop it in an envelope and post it off to the lab.
Is it because that DNA is in every cell in your body, and that's why you can just take it inside the mouth?
That's exactly right.
Nice.
So that way we can tailor it to you.
Wow! And this is only one of the things that you're gonna find, because obviously cancer is not just explained by one thing.
No, there's plenty of genes. So we decided to chat about vitamin D today.
I really like it. So that's how they go about it. And so once people do, so they get the kit and then they do the swab, they post it back to you. What's the next step after that?
So when the results come in, like yours have, then we can share it on the screen if people come into the clinic, or if they're anywhere else in the world around Australia, we just Skype. And so we can share the screen on Skype and go through all of the various genes.
So you make that easy for people to understand in
Yeah.
in plain English, because there's a lot there to take in.
And so we're able to just dig down, particularly in the red dots. So that's why it's personalised. You don't, if you're green all through here, we don't need to worry about that. It's working, it's good to go.
Yeah, I have a few greens, so that's a good
You've got a great profile up there, some awesome greens.
Oh,
So we
that's
concentrate more on the reds, make sure that we individualise your treatment plan.
Okay, so what does that mean? So because I know that I'm taking like a few supplements, for example, so you've tailored these supplement based on that test.
According to the science, so this is
Yes.
the thing, each of the genes will have interventions. So when you look inside, they have interventions that have been scientifically validated. And so you can sort of see there. So for instance, it's been shown that, you know, the high dose of ALA will suppress that gene interleukin-1. So when
Yes.
we want to down-regulate the gene, we make sure the person's getting the ALA. So
Wow,
I haven't invented these interventions, it's all science-based.
that's amazing. So if there's a high risk of having a vitamin D deficiency for people who have cancer, if people watching have cancer, and they're thinking, well, there's probably no harm in me taking just vitamin D. Is there any harm in doing that approach without doing the test?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, for a start, if the receptor isn't working, well, then that's just very expensive urine. They won't absorb it anyway.
Yes.
Now, if we get the receptors working, it's not sensible to keep taking vitamin D because there are optimal levels. So most people come in, they're somewhere around 25 nanomoles, so very, very low, maybe 50. We're aiming for 150 to be functional.
Wow.
But if it gets up to 250, it's toxic.
Oh.
So we walk the tightrope, and we know there are formulas which we use. It's all very scientific, and we make sure that we keep people in that optimal range around 150.
That's what I find amazing, because I think there's this hype around just taking vitamins,
And
you know?
it's not a great idea.
And it's not a great idea, so you've got to take the vitamins or the supplements that are good for you and
That
your
are
body.
tailored to your body.
Because I remember I asked you this question before to say, oh, you know, should I take some vitamin C? And you said, well, actually, in your case, if you take vitamin C,
Yeah.
it could have the reverse
The
effect.
reverse effect. That's right, I remember yours. That doesn't suit you at all. So, too much vitamin C for you, over 500 milligrams, down-regulates your endogenous expression of an important antioxidant. So that would be very, very dangerous, very, very bad idea.
Wow!
So it's not a good idea to just willy-nilly take supplements from the chemist, just go down, I'll take all that vitamin and that vitamin, and I saw this on Google, and I saw, you know, my auntie takes this and the postman takes that. It's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea. And plus, you're spending money for nothing.
Yes,
You don't
exactly.
need to spend that money on things that you don't.
Terrible waste of money.
Yes, and then you can harm your body.
It could be harming.
Wow, that's amazing. So, so then you would take people through Skype and then recommending the right supplement for them to take.
We can tailor it.
I think that's absolutely amazing, and I know that that played a pretty big part in my recovery. I mean, obviously, I've been 6 years cancer-free. Yay! We did it! And I think that, you know, it's a big part of managing. Also, I have an autoimmune problem as well, and it's all due to that vitamin D.
Yes.
But
And
I
some
think
other genes as well.
and some other genes as well. But by being able to control it with the diet and obviously the supplement, I'm doing very well.
Super proud of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Heather. So if people want to book one of these consults with you, how do they go about it?
We have an awesome team. We're based in Brisbane, but because we can Skype, we can see people anywhere.
So you've trained people in your team as well to help.
Yes. I
Yeah.
have an amazing team of nutrigenomists that work with me.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we'll pop the email website address on there for people to book. And thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.